Hey guys, Hammerbeard here. Thought I'd do my first video on something that's quite topical and current in the news right now, and that's the TPPA. Way to make everyone hate you on your first video. If you haven't heard of it, it's Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. It's a free trade deal between 12 countries, including us, New Zealand. It's like 6,000 pages long. I'm sure no one's read that. I'm sure someone's just left their grocery list in there and some crappy picture their kid drew for them. Now, this has rustled a lot of jimmies out there. I've not seen freaking rustled jimmies this much for a long time. And I actually tend to be leaning more for the TPPA. Because there is a lot of disinformation out there and just buzzwords and people getting angry and yelling. The first thing I found that God, is this notion that it's all done behind closed doors and we don't get access and we should have a democratic right to be involved in it. And this is just not the case of a free trade agreement anywhere. And it doesn't make any sense for it to be that way. Imagine if every single industry got to yell and no, I don't want that, like, I want more blah blah blah, I want more blah. It just doesn't work. Imagine if like Timmy's Neat Hat Emporium, freaking selling great hats over here, is pissed off because he's getting no tariff reduction on exporting his hats. And what about Timmy's hats? A lot of money off my great hats. In principle, you could say that is undemocratic. But then they seem to conveniently forget that it has to go to parliaments, and that's each individual parliament of each country, and it has to be ratified there. So that is where the democratic process actually comes into it. We have every right to say no, as do Chile and Mexico and states. Is Chile even in it? I think it's just Hungary. I think it's really hungry and I want jelly. And, this is not 2nd century Greece where we sit around in togas and yell about our opinions and they're all, taken into account for every single issue. The second issue? Sovereignty. I almost feel people don't really know what that means. Like, they kind of loosely are using it right, but they're not quite getting what they're saying. So with the sovereignty thing, they're saying, this. I think it more boils down to the fact that private companies are going to be able to sue governments for laws that hinder business. I just want to let you know this actually happens all the time. Australia plain packaging on alcohol, I think it was specifically wine, and they were sued because you are influencing someone's product. If Timmy's Hat Emporium, fucking great hats, but say Chile doesn't want to sell it because don't want hats here, not a hat fan. After you already set up an agreement that you could sell hats there, you should be duly compensated. People seem to have this idea that they're going to be influencing every aspect of the law. And they simply are not. It's only environmental and commercial. What about my wonderful hats? I don't know how true this is. It was from the Trade Minister, so I'm going to assume there's some sort of validity there, where he said there's a clause that if you can scientifically prove that a product is harmful, then it can be taken out of the market. So cigarettes, there is a clause in there about cigarettes. I hope that's true. I hope there is a clause like that because that makes a lot more sense. Even if there wasn't, I think it's only fair, if you have a business, that you are compensated if it's taken off you, under the premise that you already had the business. Do people know what free trade is? Do you guys know what free trade is? It's having absolute free access to products, whatever they be, whether you like them or not. And the market regulates itself because people will buy it. Another part of the sovereignty thing, they're talking about, well, this isn't for Maori and, it's taking our rights as Maori. God, I say that so white. Bloody Maoris. And it's just so out there in the media how there's a clause specifically, enshrining the treaty. This has never been done in any deal, like international trade deal, sorry, where an actual indigenous people get a clause singling them out. I don't understand how you can honestly keep saying that when you've been told that there is a clause that protects Maori in the treaty. It's just dishonesty, man. However, as I said, and it's not a perfect deal. And there is one concern I would have, that it becomes more profitable to just import things rather than have your own industry. So this happened really famously in America, where they had a huge car industry. You know, they invented it, Ford. And over time, the Japanese and Chinese just built far more economical cars, and it was way cheaper just to ship them in. And essentially, the industry's been wiped out. I would hate to see our country become just basically 4 million dairy farmers, because that's the only job there is, because everything else is just imported. I guess what we need to do is ask ourselves the question of where we want to be going, you know, philosophically. Do we want to be moving towards a big global civilization that shares laws, that trades with each other, and generally holds similar ideals? Illuminati! Or do we want to be separate states that kind of shut ourselves off, have our own laws, and just deal with each other when we want to? Poland. I tend to be in the position that I do want to move towards a global civilization. I think it's more beneficial, and yeah, it's just philosophically where I want to be heading. But that's not to say it's right. But in this debate, maybe that's how we should be framing it. Well, there you have it. I think I've taken enough of your time. Thanks for listening. If you've managed to get this far, you're a champ. Feel free to comment, tell me what you think, where I'm wrong, maybe some points I have just completely bullshitted on. Thanks for listening. Yeah, John Key. Yeah, I did a TPPA video, man. Oh, they're gonna eat it right up, trust me. So the money will be on my account Monday. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, man. Alright, love you too. What? No, I'm not gonna blow you a kiss. Bruno finds out. Oh, you're so silly. Alright, love you, John. Bye.